Hello everybody, Merry Christmas to everyone. It's a season, it's a festive season that we are all celebrating the birth of Christ. And here comes our anatomy again. I hope you all are enjoying the festive season. Wish you all a prosperous new year in advance. Today I want us to look at levels of structural complexity. You know, a human being is made up of different levels, starting from the atom right up to the organism. And it's always very good for us to understand these levels of structural complexity because it helps us understand the human structure better and better. Now, let's start from the atomic level. We can't talk of a human being without starting at the level of the atom, every understanding. And now we are also applying the atom in anatomy. It is still a structure. Remember, we are dealing with structural anatomy. Now, the atom is made up of subatomic particles. We have the nucleus, which is made up of protons and neutrons. We have the shells, which contain electrons. So each atom, for instance, let's look at the hydrogen atom, combining together with other atoms or with itself gives us a molecule. For instance, let's look at water molecule. Water is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. 2 hydrogen atoms with 1 oxygen. And when these two combine, they form water molecule. You see, every human being contains water. I think we are made up of 50 to 60% of water. But now, the distribution of water within the human system will depend on the organ. Now, looking at the atomic level, we have that atom, and we have hydrogen atom, and that's one atom that we will have, the hydrogen that we have in our system. Okay, it makes up molecules, and molecules now build up to form what we call organelles. Okay, for instance, at the level of the molecules, we now have larger molecules, which we call them macromolecules, and we have smaller molecules, which we call them micromolecules. Now, example of some macromolecules that we have carbohydrates, we have proteins, we have fats, and then we have DNA molecule itself. Those are at the level of the molecular structure. Now, from the molecule, we have organelles. Organelles within the cell. These organelles form the cell. Organelles with other matter, like the plasma membrane, the cytoplasm, all of that, they form the cell. So, a cell now is that basic living unit of a human being, the smallest basic living unit of a human being. Mark the word living. And from the cell, we have tissues. Tissue is a combination of cells. So cells form a tissue, and these cells have a particular function they carry out, forming a particular tissue. Now, a group of tissues will now form an organ, and organs will then form a system. This system, which is an organ system, is a complete human being. It now forms a complete human being. So, as human beings, we are made up of 11 organ systems, and I will list them. Now we have the integumentary system, we have the skeletal system, we have the muscular system, we have the lymphatic system, the respiratory system, we have the urinary system, we have the nervous system, we have the digestive system, we have the endocrine system, we have the reproductive system, as well as the circulatory system. So this 11 organ system makes a human being. I am a human being, so I have 11 organ system. And if there is something we should understand about the organ system, there are some organs that belong to 2 or more systems. Are we together? Let's just take example, the urethra. The urethra for a man functions for urination, that's the urinary system, and at the same time is the passage for sperm, so it functions for reproductive system as well. Another example, we have the pharynx. The pharynx will function for which system? It functions for the respiratory system. At the same time, you see that it is also there at the level of the digestive system. So, there are organ systems or organs that will belong to more than one system. And we can't talk about an organism, which is a human being, without really understanding this structural complexity. So if you have understood the levels, starting from the atom to the molecule, from the molecule, you have the molecule plus other matter will give us the cell, and the cell will give us tissues. Tissues will give us organs, and organs will give us systems, and these systems will give us an organism. Now, in anatomy, you can't describe organs within the system or organs within the body without understanding this structure. For instance, look at English language. We have 26 letters, and the word anatomy is made up of 7 letters. So it shows that anatomy is a build-up of 7 letters. And when we look at books, you see that a book will have syllables, you have words, you have sentences, you have paragraphs, and you have chapters. So you see the organization. In everything we do, there is that organization that we need to understand, that hierarchy that we need to understand. So when we understand the hierarchy in anatomy of the human being, it is good for us because we now understand what is happening at what level. So whatever organ that we have, the organ will definitely function based on the group of tissues that make up the organ. So it's just like the function of that's the function and structure of each organ will depend on the structure and function of the level below it. Are we together? Okay, let's get now to anatomical landmarks or anatomical position. We keep getting the term anatomical position. Sometimes we get confused. Please don't be confused. Anatomical position is that neutral position that a human being assumes while standing with the feet close, not close together, but closer, with the palms facing and the face facing forward. So it is from the anatomical position that we are able to make reference to organs within the body. For instance, if I say the sternum is anterior to the heart, it is due to the anatomical position. If I'm standing erect, right? But let's take, for instance, somebody in a supine position, lying. How will you say that? You may say that the sternum is above the heart or is superior to the heart. No, that is why we make use of the term anatomical position, and it is from this position that we describe whatever thing in a human being we want to describe. Because you can't tell me that, okay, the heart is found behind the sternum, no, or is found under the sternum. You say it is found posterior to the sternum. So it is always good to understand anatomical position. From the anatomical position, you are able to also understand the planes of the body, which I will just take, for instance, we have the sagittal plane. How does the sagittal plane divide the human body? The sagittal plane or the mid-sagittal plane will divide the body into 2 equal halves. The mid-sagittal divides into two equal halves, left and right. And the parasagittal will divide into left and right, but it will be unequal. So if I cut here, it is left, right and left, but unequal. But if I cut here, it is right and left, but equal. So this is mid-sagittal, this is parasagittal. And if we look at the coronary level, the corona cuts the body into anterior and posterior. So we have the anterior and the posterior view. Anything that divides the body into anterior and posterior view, that is the coronal plane or the frontal plane. Now we have the axial plane, which divides the body into superior and inferior. Okay, superior and inferior, that's the axial plane. And with these planes of the body, we get to understand how we look at structures within the human body, or how structures are being cut. So we should really understand this complexity of the human body because it helps us a lot. Thank you so much. You can always give or post your questions in the comment section for videos to be done on what you're doubting. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.